This is going to be the start of a monthly series called The State of the Master Chief Collection, and the reason I'm doing this is to chronicle the MCC's steady road to recovery, and keeping people up to date on where the game sits. Updates have been coming out frequently, and the MCC team even released a hotfix on the 3rd of this month in response to some serious issues. The Team 343 assembled to work on the Master Chief Collection have a completely open dialogue with the community, and I encourage you guys to reach out to Tyler on Twitter whenever you have questions about the Master Chief Collection. Just make sure that you're constructive. I don't envy the MCC team. They have to fix a pretty broken collection of broken ports of games held together with broken code. I assume it's an issue of where do you even start when looking at how much is wrong, and the last few patches for the Master Chief Collection have put it in the position of being an excellent foundation for future work. At some point, I'd actually like to formally have one of the developers do a video with me to explain in ways that they're allowed about the process of fixing the Master Chief Collection. I have a feeling it would be a pretty interesting story and pretty enlightening for the community to find out some of these things. But first up, where is the MCC as it exists right now? Well, I can say from personal experience that the matchmaking is quite excellent right now. Work has been done under the hood to redesign and revamp the way that the Master Chief Collection functions online, so it feels less like a hacked-together matchmaking scheme and more like a proper, polished system. Matches are found much quicker, and the return of the post-game lobby means that you can now sit in a playlist and just play game after game after game. You're not booted back to the main menu after each game. There is still the odd moment here and there, especially in playlists with big player counts like Big Team Battle, where it does feel like the game itself is struggling to fill up that player count, and not for a lack of players, but just because the game itself is struggling for some reason. But outside of the odd thing here and there, I haven't found any massive issues. That isn't to ignore the people who do have issues, however, because people have been saying matchmaking has gotten harder, depending on the region of the world that they live in. Matchmaking for Halo has always been odd for people outside of the United States, and while I'm happy I don't have to suffer what foreign players suffer, I do want it addressed. Games such as Battlefield allow you to locate servers outside of your native region, and they even display the ping of those servers that you kinda know what you're getting into if you can't find a game in your region. I understand the issues of not wanting lagging players that are teleporting around, but surely there's a better solution than region locking players? I'd be curious to hear if viewers have any solutions or ideas that they think could potentially work. As far as the stability of the package goes, the reliability, I'm quite happy and also a bit disappointed. Let me explain why. Obviously, a lot has changed to make the game feel more stable, and you can feel it. Less frame rate issues, less oddities and crashes in the campaigns. Stuff has clearly changed under the hood, and that was probably done to lay down the groundwork for future polishing. But some stuff was broken along the way. Thankfully, it's nothing too serious, but Halo 2 Anniversary I do feel has actually dipped a bit in quality in recent patches. I've noticed odd issues, specifically when playing in the Anniversary mode. Halo 2 Anniversary has always had some of these issues, but I've noticed it's actually gotten more frequent and worse. Quite often I've found that certain animations just simply don't play in the Anniversary graphics, such as reloading or throwing grenades, and I've captured it happening quite a few times. There's also this weird hitching issue and stuttering that's gotten more noticeable as of late. The best way to describe what it feels like is it feels like rubber banding in multiplayer, but it's not multiplayer. I'm playing the campaign solo. It feels as if the Anniversary graphics are rubber banding behind what's actually happening. if that makes any sense. I do know that some work has been done to the way that Halo 2 Anniversary renders things in the Anniversary mode, so this may be the culprit for some of the weird new issues, and it could just be rough since the changes are relatively new and some bugs still need to be ironed out. One of the pretty distracting issues is how the view models don't seem to adjust depending on where you're looking, yet they do in Classic mode. Here's a demonstration. ODST has also been suffering from some odd issues that are going unnoticed, probably due to it being underplayed compared to the other campaigns. The YouTuber General Kid has been doing a good job of cataloging the weird obscure bugs that have gone unnoticed, and props to him. ODST is definitely not as rough as Halo 2 Anniversary, but some love is needed. Outside of those two, the rest of the ports are relatively fine. Obviously, there are still some weird polishing issues that are popping up. The other day in Combat Evolved, I encountered this room in the Maw where all the guns were completely out of ammo or had half clips available. It was very weird. But Combat Evolved has been getting a lot of love, and I've been very impressed with it. The lighting issues have been fixed, and a pretty massive saving issue was recently squashed, and to top it all off, the blind skull was added, and it makes for excellent screenshot and B-roll material. My hopes are that once the MCC team is completely comfortable with the state of the game, they'll go back into Combat Evolved and restore some of the missing visuals, AI patterns, and weapon balancing that was lost due to Anniversary running off of the PC version and not the original Xbox version. But I do understand one step at a time. There is bigger fish to fry. Now, this is something that's on the horizon. It won't be added for some time now, but we'll see, and it's a little bit exciting. So, do you guys remember Titanfall 2's matchmaking system? Essentially, you could create your own mixtape for the matchmaking algorithm. You select which game modes you want to find, and the matchmaking system will go to work trying to find those lobbies for you. And well, it seems like the multi-game social playlists for the MCC are going to be getting a similar system. The MCC will be getting its own mixtape matchmaking system, and it'll be tested in the MCC Insider build. I still don't know too much about what's going on, but I assume they'll shed more light in the future. Let's talk about the aiming issues. MCC is a bit odd since it's a collection of many different Halo games that all have their own aiming values, and it can be jarring when jumping from game to game, and it doesn't help that the aiming across the games were designed around different controllers with different input thresholds. The Xbox One controller does not feel and perform like the original Duke Xbox controller, so it makes sense that Combat Evolved and Halo 2 will feel kind of different when playing it on an Xbox One controller. Someone on the Halo subreddit actually got a 360 controller running on the Xbox One and found that it felt much better to play Halo 3, and he isn't the only person to note this. This does make me believe that some of the aiming issues people are suffering from is actually more so a perceived issue with the aiming. Under the hood, the code has not been changed. Everything's fine. The difference is you're using a controller that the game was not designed around. So what's the solution here? Should they go in and tweak the aiming of the games so that, while not being faithful to the original code, it at least feels more comfortable on the Xbox One's new controllers? I'd love to hear your thoughts and your ideas. But there is an actual issue that is plaguing the aiming that we do need to address. And oddly, it's not a problem with the Master Chief Collection, but rather your Xbox and monitor. Now, ever since HDR support was added to the MCC, as well as the resolution increases, there's been issues with input delay, and I'm going to explain what's going on. When you're using an HDR monitor, or even tweaking your monitor's colors and other various settings, it'll take a bit longer than normal for the image on your monitor to render. Not that the game itself is moving slower, it's not. What's moving slower is your monitor's display. The input delay issues that people are feeling are very much real, and people have apparently also been experiencing it not just on Xbox One X's. So I'm going to show you the options that I've used that have pretty much gotten rid of the input delay problem completely. First up, make sure that your PC monitor or TV is set to game mode or fast mode, whatever your monitor calls it. And make sure that Smart HDR is turned off, and then you want to go into your Xbox's settings and turn off HDR, turn off 4K settings. And now this is a bit overkill. You probably don't need to do this, but I did it anyways to be on the safe side. Turn color depth down to 8-bit, color space to standard. In that mess of suggestions that I just gave you, something that I did there fixed my input delay issues and had the MCC feeling back to normal. So you probably don't need to do everything I just suggested, but to be safe, I did all of that and one of those things worked. And so I suggest you guys do the same and tell me your results. MCC is in an interesting state. It's both more stable and a bit more buggy. The stability comes from the actual game-breaking issues being squashed. Well, the bugs have now become less game-breaking and more just like annoyances that are hampering a solid foundation. It's going to be interesting to see where the MCC is when we revisit it a month from now, and if you guys would like me to, I can continue this series and make it monthly. And what criticisms can you offer this first episode of the State of MCC to help improve for the next episode? And how has the MCC been treating you lately? Let me know in the comments section below. Share this video around to friends, forums, Reddits, whatever you need to if anything in here helped you, and I'll see you guys on the next video.